Perek Azov, Daf Nun Zayin, sponsored L'Refuah Shalema for Devorah Bas Chaya Rivka. The Gemara continues with cases involving land that may or may not fall under the exemption of price fraud. One planted seeds that did not take root. By not taking root, they are as if lying in a container where price fraud applies, or in spite of not taking root are nullified to the ground and price fraud does not apply. The question does not refer to one claiming falsely he planted a specific amount of seeds, because this is not onah but a mekach, a mistaken sale, and applies to land. It applies to where he claimed he planted enough seeds for the field and it turned out not to be true. Oaths for a partial admission, oaths of custodians, the oath of one witness. If seeds planted are nullified to the ground, there would be none of these oaths. Cases associated with land are exempt from oaths. The Gemara questions whether bringing the omer permits planted seeds. Bringing the omer permits eating seeds, but not those planted unless they took root before the omer was brought. However, perhaps it can remove the seeds from the ground for consumption, or perhaps not so because they are nullified to the ground. All these questions remain unresolved. The next discussion in the Gemara is to determine whether bittul mekach, voiding the sale for price discrepancy of more than a sixth, applies to land, documents, slaves, and hegdish, even though price fraud does not apply. Something sold beyond the normal margin of error could fall under the category of a mekach tos, a mistaken sale, or as long as the item was not misrepresented, it could still be on price fraud. Rav Chasa held bittul mekach applies. Rav Yonah b'shem Rav Yochanan claims bittul mekach applies to hegdish. Rabbi Yirmiyah b'shem Rav Yochanan holds bittul mekach applies to land. Rav Yonah would agree the law of bittul mekach applies to land as well, because it is unlike hegdish, where one is purchasing, so to speak, from Hashem, and therefore not prone to human error. If it applies to hegdish, it certainly applies to land prone to human error. However, Rav Yirmiyah holds like Shmuel that one can redeem hegdish even onto a pruta without compensation for the difference in price. The Gemara questions Rav Yonah's interpretation of Rav Yochanan. A Mishnah states that if one deconsecrates a blemished animal for a cheaper one, the law is the hegdish animal becomes chulin, but the owner must pay the difference to hegdish. Rabbi Yochanan claims the compensation is dorabanan, whereas Reish Lakish holds it is doraisa. Since we know onah does not apply to hegdish, the difference in price must be more than a sixth. According to Rabbi Yonah, bittul mekach applies to hegdish. How can compensation be dorabanan according to Rabbi Yochanan? The Gemara offers three solutions. Number one, reverse the opinions of Rav Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish holds like Shmuel, temple property can be redeemed for even a pruta. Only the Rabbanan restricted such redemption, whereas Rabbi Yochanan disagrees with Shmuel. Bittul mekach is doraisa, even regarding hegdish. Second solution, both hold like Shmuel. Rabbi Yochanan holds Shmuel held the redemption on a pruta works only after the fact, whereas Reish Lakish holds even lechatchila. They argue as to how to interpret the term erkecha used to describe the nature of the redemption. Your appraisal, according to one opinion, it must be lechatchila correct assessment. According to the other, your appraisal, your assessment means regardless if the appraisal was much too low. The third solution is the Gemara returns to the original presentation of the opinions of Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. The argument is based on the opinion of Rav Chisda. He holds that when our Mishnah dismisses the application of price fraud to hegdish, the intention is that hegdish is stricter. Price discrepancies even less than a sixth must be corrected. Reish Lakish holds compensation is doraisa. He holds like Rav Chisda. Rabbi Yochanan does not hold like Rav Chisda. The next discussion explains the law that hegdish is not subject to ribis, usury. Number one, if the temple places an order to be supplied an amount of flour for a period of time at a certain price, it can pay cash, even though the price was not set in the market. If the price rose before delivery, the supplier must adhere to the price agreement. The Torah did not consider the temple receiving more flour than what they paid according to the present price as ribis. Number two, when the temple purchased building materials such as stones, unlike other purchases made with cash, these materials were purchased on credit to avoid the workers misappropriating them while working, using them as chairs or for some other purpose. They paid for them only after the work was completed and in the interim were entrusted to the treasurer, who could lend them at a profit for the temple. The Gemara explains the source for excluding the four subjects of our Mishnah from kefil: the double payment, 4 or 5 for theft, the oath of custodians. It is based on a klal prat and klal expounded from the verse associated with Gezela that teaches only movable items that have intrinsic value pay kefil. Land is not movable and slaves are compared to land. Documents have no intrinsic value. Hekdesh is excluded because the verse applies only to Re'eu, a fellow Jew. Kefil is part of the 4 and 5, subtracted, and there is no 4 or 5. The verse is dealing with custodians mentioned pratim that lead to the same conclusions.